I'm Patty Rose with Cool 102.7 and StarTime 1590 local radio stations welcoming to Camden the EQUUS Film Festival Camden Tour Stop. It's this week, February 13th through the 19th. The EQUUS Film Festival is the first touring film festival oriented around equestrian-themed content from all over the world. There are feature films, documentaries, shorts, music videos, commercials, training educational materials, art, and literacy. The 2016 Winnie Award winners and select special films are touring Camden with film showings at the Little Theater. We have art exhibits at the Rutledge Street Gallery and Artist Attic, as well as other locations in Camden. And a children's literacy corner will be held this Saturday, February 18th at 9 a.m. at Books on Broad. For a complete schedule and list of events, go to EQUUS Film Festival Camden 2017.eventbrite.com. Excuse me, I'd like to welcome Wayne Williams. Wayne, you're a radio and TV person. We're so excited to have you here.
Yeah, I have a face built for radio when I'm here. Where I just love this stuff. And I love the horse aspect of what's going on here.
Well, and your show, both on television and radio, is Speaking of Horses. Is that correct?
Speaking of horses, right.
And where can we see this? Can we pull it up online?
You can pull it up. Any of the stuff is up on demand at speakingofhorses.com.
Okay.
I have select radio stations that carry it on air, a 15-minute show every weekend. And then I also put the TV shows that I put together, which are anything and everything to do with horses, are on demand. I also have some select cable access channels and cable channels that do carry those on live broadcast TV as well.
Wonderful. Now tell me how you were affiliated with the EQUUS Film Festival.
Well, I've known Lisa Dearson for several years. I announce at many horse expos, and Lisa's been up to the Midwest Horse Fair, Madison, Wisconsin, where I announce. And also in 2010, they were trying to get into the World Equestrian Games. And not that I had this big pull, but I was hired to be the announcer for the entertainment arena. Not the competition,
right,
but the entertainment that was going on all day long in the Equine Village at the World Equestrian Games.
Wow.
And so I put a word in for Lisa. Long story short, they got there, and Lisa says, well, why don't you promote the film festival also? And I do it. I've been to 3 years in a row. I've been to Manhattan. I was actually supposed to be here last year and had some issues, but we made it this year.
We're glad you're here this year.
I'm looking forward to this. Yeah.
It should be lots of fun. So you are very involved in reporting in the equestrian industry. Do you ride or train or do any of those things?
I've had a horse since I was about 7. Started with a Welsh pony.
Right.
Now, there's a big difference between owning a horse all your life and being a horseman. I've owned a horse.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, you kind of peak out after I'm on and didn't get thrown off.
Okay?
Right. The point is, we always had horses. My dad loved to have a horse. My mother could have cared less, but my dad loved it, and I loved it, but we never got involved in continual training. You know, what you're doing here here in Camden.
With the racetrack.
With the race, with the steeplechase, everything. And the dressage,
right,
everything that goes on. You know, and you have a top dressage person that's going to be here, Yvonne Barteau. But you got to really be committed to go further and further and further, and we were recreational. Once we got to a point, we knew how to care for them, we could ride them, we could do what we wanted. We were having a ball because we were getting everything we wanted from the horse,
yes,
but we didn't go further, okay? And I actually took my background in radio and stuff from Indiana and found a niche where I could go in and announce at equestrian events. And because I kind of knew what was going on in the arena, you could go hire 1 million announcers. But if something in the arena went off script,
they couldn't.
We're done.
Yeah.
It's over. So I found a niche, and I love horses, and I love doing the broadcast stuff. So it just melds together real nice.
So what a perfect marriage of your two interests.
As long as I can set upright and get on an airplane, I can do this forever.
That's right.
That's exactly,
and talk. That's all you have
exactly
to be able
what
to
it's
do.
about.
That's awesome.
Right. I've learned so much about so many breeds of horses.
Right.
That when I started announcing at horse events 25 years ago or better, half of the breeds I'd sort of heard of them, but okay.
Right.
But they all seem to have a breed registry that puts the script together for them. And then all they have to do is plug in the name of the horse and the rider that happens to be there.
In that
in that demo. So, you know, I can do Frisians to Andalusians to Lusitanos to Lipizans to donkeys and mules. Okay, it
Which
doesn't matter.
apparently we have some of all of in the EQUUS Film Festival.
You do.
Yes.
You do.
In the different films.
And I know the history of them. I don't know necessarily who the riders are, but I can
Right.
pretty much do the history of most of those breeds because it's osmosis. You just can't not read it that many times without part
And
of
it
it sinking
stays in your brain, yes. I have ads that I do that I could recite verbatim because I've done them so long.
But it's the neat part of it is I've rarely met a person that's in horses that isn't down deep a good person.
Interesting.
See, it's a very interesting concept. You know, you can go to a campground, we go camping with the horses and have a ball. You go out to a campground, you never worry about your stuff. You go in the barns, you leave your stuff in the tack stall, you leave your stuff out, you never worry about it. You know, there's not very many bad apples in that group because they have to have a different commitment to the horse, to what it takes to do it, or they're not there. So it's really a group of people that you just want to be associated with because the values are right.
That is really interesting. Although that's kind of what I'm learning in doing all of these interviews for the EQUUS Film Festival is a very unique and special group of people.
If you can train a horse, you can raise a kid. It's almost
Maybe I should have done that first.
It's almost identical because you know, you have, when you're raising a child, you have to say what you mean and mean what you say.
Consistency and discipline.
Consistency and discipline. And love when it's needed. With a horse doesn't know what a joke or a trick is. You say this or do this, it always has to mean that.
Right.
Boom, boom. It can't change on you. If you're consistent, they'll come right to you. So it's almost identical whether you're training a horse or raising a kid. Now, I could be taken to task because a Dr. Phil, I'm not, okay? But that's really an interesting concept about that, and that comes back to the values.
Right.
I've
the
got
core values.
I got a theory.
Horsemen's.
You watch the inner city, whether it's Chicago, New York, LA, wherever the heck the big cities are. The incidence of teen violence continues to increase the more that those kids have less and less rural experience.
I've often thought the same thing.
Because when you're in a rural setting, when you've got animals that depend on you, when you've got to go out, if it's 10 below zero in Wisconsin, you still got to go out and make sure the water's running. You got to
Feed 'em.
you gotta do
Right.
these things, okay? And when you shirk your duties because it's cold and I don't feel like it, something bad will eventually happen out of that. You know, they may or may not die, but something's gonna get torn up, injured, whatever in that process. So there's those values, and it's the value of one life depending on you.
Right.
Okay, so your goal is to make that life better for that animal, and then you learn the facts of life because all of the animals have a shorter lifespan, so you generally go through, how many dogs did you go through
death,
as a kid?
Birth.
You go through all of that in the natural progression, so you learn all of the values of life from birth to death and all the stages in between.
Right, yes, that's very.
You respect life, and if you don't have that when you start, you don't respect it.
Speaking of kids, I know we have a full day of kids' activities to get them out of the house and away
Yeah.
from those computer screens. They can meet Marley, Bruce Anderson's horse, at 1 o'clock in downtown Camden at the corner of Rutledge and DeKalb Streets, Broad Streets. We've got the Literary Corner Saturday morning at 9 a.m. at Books on Broad, and then some other activities, which if you go on the website, they can find out.
There's plenty of
all
stuff
about
for
this.
kids.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the best part is all of it's free. So and the weather's supposed to be beautiful, so there's no excuse excuse for getting those kiddos out of their houses.
And then if you really
want
want to get embarrassed, you can ask them how many of them know who Roy Rogers and Dale Evans are.
None of them will.
And none of them will.
No, I know. I'm old enough to know, but yeah, they don't know.
None of them will.
When I make references now, I'm like, oh yeah, you don't know who that is, do you?
My wife and I have done that. She's got a buttermilk buckskin, like buttermilk, with a red and white saddle and a costume. And I've got a big Palomino with a silver parade saddle and stuff. And even though I don't look like Roy, I can put on the fringy shirt and the right horse and saddle. But we were doing a parade 3 or 4 years ago in southern Wisconsin. Somebody said, "Who you guys supposed to be?" And I said, "Roy Rogers and Dale Evans." He said, "Who are they?" And I looked over and I said, "We can quit doing this now."
That's right. We're done. Stick a fork.
You know, well, Roy Rogers would be 106.
Yes.
So it's just too many years, you know.
Well, when I was a kid, they were still on TV, so. But
Oh, you're not that old.
I'm 50. I'm a half
Oh,
century.
well, that's young.
I know. Well, that's what I
But-
keep telling myself now. The older I get, the younger it is. Let me just tell you.
That's Warren Central years you're
yeah,
talking about now.
that's right. Back in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, we found out we have a connection.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We grew up in the same town.
I went to high school on the west side of Indianapolis, and she went to high school on the near east side
Yep.
of it. A few years apart, but yeah, there's this connection back to Indy, and I've still got kids and grandkids there. So yeah.
I have family in Indianapolis as well, so it's great to meet you. Thank you for coming so far, Wisconsin, for the EQUUS Film Festival here in Camden. We're tickled to have everybody in town, and looking forward to a fun weekend. And I understand you travel around to all of the tour stops, or most all of the tour stops?
Well, I'm going to hit 2 or 3 this year, okay? I'm going to hit here. I did Manhattan. Going to Omaha. I don't know beyond that at this point. And I know we have somebody off camera here. I shouldn't go over and say, okay, but I know there's others, and I'm just going to have to look at the schedule.
And
see
then
where I'm
you will
going.
put all of yours, will you do?
I will
cover them
do
on
some
your show?
interviews along the way. I will have some that'll turn into radio interviews. Some
TV.
I will do in TV interviews. There may or may not, depending on what I get, there may be a highlight show from this festival if I get some really good stuff. If it just doesn't meld together well, and you know how this goes in broadcast, then you're better off, you just put it up in little blurps rather than a show. But I would tell everybody that's watching this, you've got to come to Camden. It's the Little Theater this weekend, because if you love horses, and you don't have to own them, if you just love to look at them, come. And bring the kids. There's plenty for them.
Definitely bring the kids. We've got kids' activities all day Saturday. You can get a complete schedule at EQUUS Film Festival, Camden 2017.eventbrite.com. We've got tickets for sale locally at the TAC Room, Camden Archives, Rutledge Street Gallery, and the Little Theater. There's a headquarters at 1050 Broad Street. It's the Marley Project headquarters for the festival, and you can stop in there at any time during the festival and get information, maps, schedules, detailed information about the different panels that we'll be hosting, and then, of course, the films. And you can get weekend passes for $50, day passes for $30, evening passes for $20. And if you just want to see one block of films, I thought it was just one film for $10. That was not accurate. It's blocks of films. They're 2-hour blocks of films. So for $10, you can go online and get the schedule and figure out where your interest lies, and come and pay $10 and watch 2 hours worth.
And the kids will have a ball.
Wayne, thank you so much for talking with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting you, and I hope you enjoy your stay in Camden.
Oh, I will, and I'm sorry I had no specific topic here. I just kind of
That's okay. That's how these interviews have been going.
But I'm looking forward to having a good weekend here.
Yes, we hope you enjoy yourself, and we hope you will come out to the 2017 Camden tour stop of the EQUUS Film Festival. Thanks for tuning in.